Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our special council meeting, the witching hour of 5:30.
We, the Bangla people, welcome you to our country. We are the lawful inhabitants of this peninsula for thousands of generations. We are part of this land on which we stand, part of the waters that flow in and around. We are part of the dreaming stories that are connected. The full awareness of oneness with the land and waters will ensure a future for the children of tomorrow. Ngaya Wanaguru Bangala Mirinya Yura Damilbu. Thank you.
And I don't hear anybody complaining that we have the heaters on either. What? Sorry? They're on, trust me. Item 2, our attendance record. We have no apologies. We have no leave of absence. Item 3, the declaration of members' conflict of interest. Does anybody have a conflict that they feel they should declare? Councillor Border.
Yes, I have a potential conflict that I have regarding 4.1.2. I have a shack down at Douglas Point South, which would benefit from the Golfview Drive upgrade. Just being very cautiously to mention that.
Thank you, Councillor. Any further perceived conflicts of interest? Thank you. Item 4, reports from council officers. 4.1, corporate services. 4.1.1, the airport considerations. And during discussion, I just draw to your attention that if you wish to refer to the attachment at all in any comments or questions, we will need to go into confidential if you're going to touch on that. So please make sure you mention that if you are making comments. Otherwise, I'll refer to the CEO. Right. Apology from Councillor Campbell. Thank you, CEO. We have a report there. Airport considerations, yes.
So, through the Mayor, happy to take the report as read. Maybe if you want to open it for any initial questions from elected members before seeking a mover and a seconder. If there's any
questions to the CEO? Councillor Knox.
Just two questions. The first one is we'll refer to the 2.4 million from Council's long-term financial plan. Is that real money or is that future money?
Through the chair, I'll get the manager of finance to respond to that question.
Yeah, so that is renewal money that exists within our long-term financial plan. So it was flagged that the airport would need renewal at some point in the near future from our existing. So when we get the rest of our road network valued and condition rated, we actually get our runway condition rated as well. So that was built in based on the runway, on its current usage, needing a reseal, just a regular reseal to current strength within the long-term financial plan. So it's future money, but renewal monies are always estimates in terms of when the timing is going to be. Obviously, what we're saying here is because of some of what's proposed, obviously an upgrade is required, but some portion of that is actually renewal as well. Like you're upgrading the runway to a new standard, but you're also, a small portion of that is renewing the existing runway really, and then we're putting more on top. So it makes sense to use council's budgeted renewal funds as part of the overall project. But what the report is saying is that is basically the absolute maximum that council can afford in its long-term financial plan to put towards that project. and that's why the report talks about the funding.
Next question is, what is the estimated cost for the consultant to do the work, seeing that we're going out of calling tenders and not doing that?
Yeah, through the Mayor, I'll defer that one to Kathy Jarrett, Director of Corporate Services.
The consultant that we are engaging to undertake the preliminary investigations and design work for us. For the first stage of that is approximately $50,000, and the second stage of that is around another 20,000. So in total, about 70,000. There will be additional preliminary costs by service investigations, for example, core sampling and drop testing and geotechnical surveys as well.
Lastly, it sounds like, reading the report, it sounds like we're going to replace the bitumen, except that's fair enough. But there's no reference to the costs of doing anything at all to the subsurface. And the subsurface is going to be where most of the money is going to go, I would think.
The initial assessment by the consultant who has done a desktop analysis as well as a visual inspection is of the view or of the belief at the moment that the subsurface or the pavement that sits in underneath it, the subgrade, is going to be of sufficient strength, and so no works will be required to the subgrade.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Border.
The mobile asphalt plant, I've got no idea of the costs, but is there any benefit, given it'll be quite a significant initial work that it would be doing? Is there any benefit to purchasing something like that? Again, I don't know the costs, but rather than renting it.
In relation to the mobile asphalt plant, that remains to be seen as to whether that's actually needed, given that we've got Borrell here in Whyalla. And so I think that the possibility of a mobile asphalt plant being needed is very low.
Thank you. Any other questions? Comments? If there's no further questions, we have a report. Would somebody care to move and second the report? Move, Councillor Border. Seconded, Councillor Inglis. I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. Item 4.1.2, the Nicholson Avenue Traffic Control. Refer that to the CEO. You have the report. We'll take it as read. Any comments or questions before I call for a mover? Councillor Inglis.
I just read the report. It seems hideously expensive. Hideously expensive. Put a crossing in that pretty much exists now. Upgrade and change it. Nearly 450 grand. I'm in the wrong business. I mean, we should be building crossings, I reckon. Is that just an indication, Justin, or is that an actual cost?
Yeah, so basically the cost is what two willing parties are prepared to exchange for services to be provided. We went to open tender. We got very limited responses, and the market has said, if you want to install a crossing, this is how much it's going to cost. So in the absence of someone else coming and saying they can deliver the service or the product cheaper, that is the cost that we are looking at. Hence the recommendation, which is, and the reason we've brought this back to council is it's certainly much more expensive than what we anticipated. Having said that, however, the cost does include additional elements beyond just a straight pedestrian activated crossing, as articulated in the report. So, yeah, unfortunately, yeah, not cheap.
Councillor Border.
I'm just going to declare the conflict of interest and leave the room.
Any further questions or comments for the CEO? In that case, we do have a report with a recommendation. Would somebody care to move that? Councillor Simpson. Moved councillor Simpson, seconded councillor Knox. I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you.
No, because many other councils are currently sending letters to the government thanking them for handing over jetties and marinas to them, probably around the same time that they handed the traffic lights over.
Lots of thank you letters are good.
A query, I meant to ask a question before. Debt's going to contribute any money to this or not? Or does the school finish, the boundary finish at the footpath?
Are contributing $11,000 to the sign that what we still will be going ahead with. So the time-based 40 zone. So because that they are still in a trial phase for those types of sites across the state, they've got a grant funding stream where they'll fund half of that, or what we've estimated half of that to be. So yeah, they're contributing sort of $12,000 towards that part of the project, and that will still be going ahead as per the resolution. But other than that, once they handed over the traffic lights and signal crossings, they were all council's responsibilities, and that's happened statewide.
Thank you for that explanation. Item 5, consideration of.
I have a question.
Yes.
It's nothing to do with political things. It's to do with the High School. We still have 40 kilometre zones. Is that going to stay like that? You think it's not a school anymore?
Sorry. So the resolution was yes to install the 40 kilometre time-based zones.
We're talking about High School.
Oh, that's a 40 zone, so that's different. This has got to do with the fact that that's a dual carriageway, and normally they have to be 60, but they're trialling time-based 40k zones.
Right, moving on to item 5, consideration of confidential items. Would somebody care to move that we go into confidential, please? Which at 5:45 I will declare closed.